My very first sale was a couple from Ironton, Jody and Danny Picklesheimer. Mm-hmm. They bought 6 cars from me from Ashland. They just bought a new one from me in Portsmouth, and they live in West Virginia.
Wow.
So it's, Jody sold my house. She's a realtor. She sold my house. Like, we're friends. That's where this business kind of gets wild, because you're meeting these people that are going to be in your life. Maybe.
Yeah,
potentially
16 years at this point.
for the rest of
it.
them.
Yeah.
And so 13 years later, last week, just sold them a Jeep Grand Cherokee L. And that is what I tell all of our people. It's like, a customer can buy a car here. They can buy it there.
Yeah.
They can buy it over here. But it's going to be, if they know what car they want to buy, then they're going to buy off the person. So be the person that, people want to do business with.
Right.
New Local Legends Podcast. Real small town success stories.
You have quite the lineups.
We believe that if people know better, they can do better.
When you kissed me by the river.
Sponsored by Glockner Enterprises.
There's pride made at Glockner Chevrolet.
Time to turn.
Rich Moon.
Welcome to the Speakeasy.
The amount of love and compassion.
The hope that's been bubbling up in the last few years.
The finer things about Portsmouth.
You just don't see that everywhere.
Local legends only.
We're live on the Local Legends Podcast. This is episode number 54, and I'm in that Glockner Speakeasy with the Boyd County bad boy himself. It's Bjstewart, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for joining me, bro. And just to put it on record, BJ, as far as my Glockner experience goes, the first person that greeted me at the door when I joined the team was you.
That was me, man. That was me.
Right. So you're kind of like the OG as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. One, man. Number one. Man. Unfortunately, though, this is episode 54, right? So I couldn't get in on like a 3, 4, 5 spot. I got to wait 53 times. More legendary.
I kind of did you wrong, didn't I?
I know,
man.
Like my mom's going to be proud, though, bro. I'm going to show her this. She's going to be happy.
Complaining to her,
She's going to be happy, man. We're here. We made it, Mom. We made it.
Bro, just start with Wikipedia summary of who you are, what you do.
Okay, yeah. So like you said, my name is Bjstewart. I am from Ashland, Kentucky, born and raised. Graduated from Boyd County High School in the year 2000, so I'm turning 40 years old next month. I went to Morehead State University, go Eagles, and been in the car business now 16 years. This is my 16th year. So first time ever on a podcast, too.
That's what's up.
So,
what'd you go to school for, BJ? What's your degree in?
Advertising and public relations.
Oh, right
It's
on.
a communications degree, so it's kind of like you, man. But you're way more artistic than I could never do that.
It's all just it's all sales at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
So it was a good experience, though. It's good school. Program's very widely accepted as one of the better communications in this part of the area. But it was a good time. Learned a lot. Made a lot of good friends, and not really using that degree right now, but it was still a great experience in life.
Well, even like my degree, BJ, and I feel like a continual theme in the podcast is like just not limiting yourself to the label of like where you live, where you're from, what you went to school for, kind of thing. Massimo Vanelli, who's like my design idol, since I went to school for visual communication and design. He says, like, if you can design one thing, you can design anything, kind of deal.
Sure.
And so, like, our skill sets are, like, more malleable than people think,
You know, life is going to just take you where it's going to take you. And it doesn't matter, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if you're prepared or not. If you walk down certain roads, you're going to wind up where you're supposed to be. So I'm very thankful to be where I'm at today, even though I didn't see that coming, and I'm sure we'll get to that later. But it's a crazy ride, man. Life is a crazy ride, and as I'm getting older, and I've got a little 6-year-old now, it's It's wild, man.
Yeah,
life
bro.
is crazy, man. So.
Well, tell us the story, BJ. I mean, how did you end up getting connected here at Glockner? There's like 16 years of history there.
Sure, yeah. So I was at a previous dealership before I've been with Glockner 6 years. I was at the other dealer for 10. Before I even started selling, though, I was cutting grass for them, detailing cars in the summertime, and then in the wintertime working inside in detail bay. They had a little restaurant. I was a waiter at it. Anything. I was coming in on the weekends from school, and just anything I could do to get some extra dollars, And so fast forward just a little bit, started selling as I was still going to school on Friday, Saturday, and they were open on Sundays. So I started selling. It kind of came second nature to me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated from Moorhead, I wanted to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. There wasn't much going on locally, so I knew I was going to have to move if that's the avenue I wanted to travel down. So I had a couple things lined up. One that was promising in Atlanta. Didn't really want to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Talked with the owner at the last dealership that I was at. And basically worked out something to where I could become full-time with the idea was to learn the business from front to back and then eventually grow into other roles, which I did. Sold for 2-3 years, worked in the parts department for a year, worked in the service department for a year, worked in finance for a year, became a sales manager for 7 years. So it was it really, when you go through it that way, you learn, number one, what every position does, which helps you. You learn what the people are facing who are in those departments. And now that I'm with Glockner, I really know and I can identify with and help solve problems with even people that's not in the department just because I've spent time in there and done those things.
Right.
And again, it was a good learning experience. I mean, it was pretty breakneck, though. It was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It was Sundays 12 to 5. And I mean, it was 250 car a month store.
Wow.
Fast paced. And when about the time I knew I was wanting to ride out, had a mutual contact of Mr. Tim Glockner, and they were kind enough to share his info with me. And I reached out to Tim, and Tim, to my surprise, got back with me pretty quickly, and we, just set up a little, like a meet and greet kind of meeting between the two of us in this little cafe that I don't even think's there anymore in Ironton, and it was about 5:30 in the morning, and we got together, and man, if anybody listening knows Tim, it's real easy to love that guy. You know what I mean? And so we talked, personally, and we talked business, and we each liked what each other had to say. And I knew the only place moving forward after that conversation that I would want to go to from the last place was the Glockner family.
Well, and just from the start, BJ, like what people need to understand is people of their caliber that are running a business this size, usually don't just respond back in 20 minutes, or you don't just reach out to people.
Right.
You don't.
They're completely accessible.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's mind blowing.
Yes, it is. It
is.
is.
I can call Mr. any of the Glockners, even Andy Glockner, and if he don't answer right then, I know I'll get a call back that day. I know I will.
Right.
And that is mind blowing. Now I don't overutilize that privilege, but because they are so busy, but
sure,
it is very comforting and cool to know that, like you said, they have so many different ventures and they're spread so thin,
right,
that they'll still make the time for you to answer a question or to, even if you just want to say hi, they'll.
Yeah. I think it's if I can speak to the culture here about one thing at Glockner, it's people are open-minded to at least your ideas. You know what I mean? To new ideas or the possibility of working with you. And I think that's what keeps the culture fresh and new and moving forward. Right?
And I'm talking about Tim more so just because my dealings in the sales kind of typically had a lot of him involved. But he is so far ahead of the curve that even sometimes when he's bringing an idea to the table, you really have to get yourself out of your square to see it. And I think, you see the success story of, we're sitting in history right now. And you just cannot fathom that until you are here and you're reading those snippets and you're looking at this 1912 Harley Davidson front. You're looking at these jerseys in the back. You're looking at all this stuff, and it's like you can't wrap your brain around it until you really sit down and just look at that timeline of how successful they've been. And they're not. Nobody's that successful without being intentional.
Right.
And they're very intentional, and they do it the right way, and they love their people, and their people love them, and it's just cool. It's a good story. It's a great place to be, and I'm thankful and blessed to be a part of it.
Man.
Just keep on rolling right now.
Well said.
Yeah.
So you have that initial conversation with him, and then how do things progress from there?
Yeah. So it really went pretty quickly after that. He knew that I was interested, and I made sure that he knew it weekly that I was interested. And when you have multiple stores or locations and you have a lot of pieces, to get someone in, there's a domino. You have to move this person, but when you move that person, you have to move this person. And then when you move this person, you got to make room for this guy. And then this lady over here needs to go. And then you're moving this lady here. And it's just, and it's all these things. So I'm sure looking back on it, he was trying to work that chessboard out for me. But I still, every week I was, hey, you got a spot? Hey, I'm right here. Sure. Man, I really like that conversation the other day. You know what I mean? And so, so he finally he called me one day and he said that he would like for me to meet the GM at the time at the store that I'm at now, which is the Automall, which is Honda, Toyota, and now Chrysler Dodge Jeep brand.
Yeah.
So I met him and for breakfast, and that evening.
Where'd you guys go to breakfast, BJ?
We met at Big Boy.
Did you?
In Ironton. Yeah, we met the Big Boy.
I'm not privy to Big Boy.
No, the Big Boy, man. Yeah, the Big Boy. They got some good breakfast.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So he calls me later on that evening, and he's like, hey, how, and he'd already spoken with, and he's like, how did everything go? And I was telling him, man, I love it, and he said, well, I got a question for you. And I was like, okay, sure. And he said, how would you like to come work for me? And man, just that. If you've ever been excited about something, you know what I'm talking about. You got those butterflies going, your hands start shaking, that adrenaline's pumping.
Yeah.
And I knew right then, I was like, man, this is going to be, when you're getting
this
ready.
This is like my shot kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you're jumping from a ship that you've been on for a decade onto another ship that's already moving just fine.
Yeah.
You get a little nervous, you get a little scared. And, because at the other store, I felt like I was pretty much everything I could be, and everybody was kind of, and now I'm coming onto a whole world where I'm going to be following someone else, figuring out how. And I remember, man, like one of the first days, the other store, I could do anything, everything, backwards, frontwards, sideways, eyes closed, sleeping. I couldn't even work the fax machine. At the, when I came to Honda Toyota, I had to get people to show me how to work the fax machine. Just little things that, you just don't, think about.
Right. Like,
and it makes you feel so small, you know what I mean? And here you are trying to help change the environment or whatever the goals are that you want to contribute to. And I'm like, man, I can't even send a fax, today.
Yeah, right.
So it's, but it was, as soon as I got there, completely different culture. I mean, man, night and day from what I was used to. I was used to coming home like a whipped dog.
Yeah.
BJ,
maybe I dreamt about this or something, but I swear you told me one time that the old dealership you worked in had a literal Shark Tank.
It did.
You're just like, imagine inviting customers in.
But let me tell you this, though. There was more than sharks in the water out there. They were also cruising the showroom, okay, man? So you know how it goes, man. You got some,
bro.
But it was, man, just so refreshing to hear all these good things and then actually become a part of it and realize that you weren't took. That this is real. Like, it's really real. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way they close at 6 o'clock every day. There's no way they're closed on Sundays. There's no way they're closed on holidays. There's no way they have a retirement plan.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, where I came from, they had profit sharing. Funny, they can always show a way to not show profit. You know what I mean? But they actually have a legit plan, and they want you to succeed. Just like, you know, me as a manager, I want the whole team to succeed, and knowing that I have that from them, you just can't, you know, you can't replace that feeling. It's a great feeling, and I knew honestly, seriously, from day one, I knew I was where I needed to be and where I wanted to be and where I could stay for, you know, as long as they'd have me, but hopefully till you retire, man. And that's, how do you replace that feeling? You know, you just don't. It's a good feeling.
Well, I know when you came to, it was Glockner, Honda, Toyota at the time, and since like expanded product and everything. Talk about just like walking into the store, what it was like then, and I guess the new and exciting things coming up.
Sure, yeah. So, like I said, I came from a pretty very high volume store, and I think the goal at the time when I first got, so keep in mind, this was 6 years ago. So I think the goal at the time was we wanted to grow as far as units were concerned. And at that time, manufacturers really wanted unit growth, you know. And so one of the big goals that we had was, let's see, and now I came in November, so we're talking, you know, January the following year. One of the goals was let's just see if we can break the unit record. Let's just try that out, see how that goes. Let's change our approach. First year, highest unit month we ever had with, or year we ever had with Honda. It was a very good feeling to know that not only once we set our sight with something, but they had our back. They were in on it however they felt that we needed to do it. And we just went for it, and we changed our whole outlook on how a car deal was worked and how we were going to market ourselves and what we were going to do, and turned out very beneficial for us. You know, it's a little different now, obviously, with the way things are, but we have just recently gotten Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram franchise in Portsmouth, and it is offering us a product that we're not used to having. We're not used to having heavy-duty trucks. You know, Honda, Toyota, they don't produce a 2500, 35, a diesel, anything. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just like a very specific kind of product and client base, and they know they're, you know. Yeah.
And your Toyota customer is a Toyota customer for life. Your Honda customer is a Honda customer for life. They may ping-pong back and forth a little bit.
Right.
If they've had 18 Camrys, they might want an Accord and the other way. But we've never had that, you know, that Wrangler, that cool-looking vehicle, the big trucks, the Scat Packs. You know, we've just never had that, and it's been very exciting to have, and everybody is really accepted it. We've had some great months. Inventory across the board is a struggle, but it's a struggle everywhere. And as things keep progressing, we start the remodel on the building next door for the service in the showroom. It's just going to get bigger and bigger, and we're glad to be here to help facilitate those purchases for locals and people from afar. So
Sure. And you know, even Honda, Toyota, before you added the additional product, that's kind of a unique situation, right? It's like Coke and Pepsi kind of being in the same building.
One of the Honda reps told me that, see, we have Toyota and Honda under the same roof. So it's not really abnormal to see somebody with a Honda and Toyota franchise in their umbrella. But under one roof, we're one of 5 in the country.
Wow.
And Tim Glockner put that together from what I hear. He you know, finagled it in a way that it was under one roof and got both the manufacturers to agree with the design and all that stuff. So again, we're talking the foresight and the ahead of the curve stuff in Portsmouth, Ohio, buddy.
That's and I think that's another another shining part of the culture or something we want to maintain is like there's a lot of sales environments that are really combative. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to kind of step on each other to get ahead. And we've all had, you know, coworker or people that may no longer work here that are like, man, they're just not a team player kind
Sure.
of thing, right? I think why Glockner excels and continues to progress is because there's every person in every position, and people like yourself that have been in all the positions are kind of trying to put each other on, and the team's more successful because of that. Like when all these, it's kind of a complicated ecosystem, like when all these planets align, that's when like really things start to feel effortless and you kind of get in that flow.
Sure. You know, in the sales world, and this could be true for other occupations, but I'm speaking from sales. You have different personalities. You have different age groups. You have different ways of thinking. You have when I knew that I was going to become a manager, my main goal was to always try to create an atmosphere that everybody, no matter how long you've been in the business, whether it's day one or 30 years in, that you would have a place to come and enjoy work. And I've not always been a part of that, and I know there's a lot of people out there that's not a part of that. So if I can help create with our team a place that people can be comfortable coming in every day, look forward to coming in every day, they're going to give you the best, and I'm going to give them the best, and this person's going to give that person the best, and the team is going to then come together.
Right.
And that's what we've done, and that's why I believe is one of the big reasons, along with everything else that the Glockners have to offer, but specifically our store, is why we are successful and continue to be successful, because people want to hold on to those good jobs, to the places that they feel appreciated. You don't want to show up and work with somebody that doesn't appreciate what you're doing for them, or ride you all day or whatever, and that's just never been my style.
Right. And that, I can't imagine something more miserable, dude. I mean, like I've like built my life around, I want to wake up and be happy about what I'm doing every day.
Sure.
Like be excited to work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't mind getting a sweat on, but I want to like what I'm doing kind
Sure.
of thing,
Absolutely.
And I think that's a big skill set of yours as a GM, BJ. Even meeting you for the first time, dude, you had the right energy. Like some people just meet you and you just feel unwelcome, like very quickly. You know what I mean?
100% agree.
And after walking away from that first just meet and greet, I think it handed you a resume or something. It was really like, I could see myself working with that guy, or I'm open to continuing the conversation kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. To me, I've seen enough styles and enough people doing what I do and doing other jobs that I've done to know what I want to be and what I don't want to be to other people and for myself. And we've really done a good job of capturing that and bottling it and, trickling that out, in our store, and it's working. And I don't think that there would be a person at our store that would come in here and sit down and say that they dread coming to work.
Yeah.
I just know there's not. And that makes me happy, because that's what my goal was.
Right.
Was to create that environment with the help of our other management team, our sales team, detail, the office, everybody. You know? And I think we've done it. And I think that's one of our big reasons for success too. So.
BJ, so Tim Glockner told me one time that nobody growing up like dreams of being a car salesman. Like,
right.
It's like firefighter, policeman. Like
Truth.
That's not the
Truth.
thing.
A lot of truth right there.
Yeah. What do you? I guess any light bulb moments that in the sales game, like getting in the sales game, where you're like, this is for me. Like this is my thing.
So going back to what Tim said about that, when I was in kindergarten, and we had our kindergarten graduation, so everybody's going up and they're saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, you're hearing a lot of doctors, lawyers, dentists, whatever,
Yeah.
When I got up there, and this is on camera, okay, there's footage of this. I said that I wanted to be a professional dirt bike rider. so the kindergarten version of me, might be a little disappointed, but the adult version of me is very happy to be what I'm doing. But, when I started selling, there's that nervous thing because, it's not like you're at a grocery store or a clothing store, which I worked at when I was in high school. they're coming in and your shirts are folded up. They know what size they are. All you're there to do is facilitate the purchase for them. They know everything they want. And you're taking them to the register. When you are selling the second largest purchase that somebody makes in their life, besides a house, you want to give them the most bang for their buck as an individual, right. not just monetarily about the car. But when I started talking to people and started meeting different people and started just talking about life with other people as a young man, out of college, and I'm selling, and I really got excited about that. And to know that I could at 1 minute be talking to a surgeon, and the next minute I could be talking to a loan officer, and the next minute I could be talking to an entrepreneur who's started several businesses, or maybe they have a podcast that gets 1 million listeners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, you get to meet so many people and take in all these things that you would never know.
Right.
If you're just, doing something else outside of sales. So what that done for me was kind of solidified that, like, it made me excited. Like, not just how many cars am I going to sell, or it's who am I going to meet today?
Right.
And what can we share, and what can I learn, and what can I teach them? And the car thing, lucky enough for us in our store, we sell Hondas and Toyotas up until the CDJR came a few months back. So if you're a Honda or Toyota buyer, you're like the T-shirt buyer. You know what size you want. You know what color you want. You know what model you want. I'm kind of just there to help facilitate that for you. And let you and show you the new technology. Let you see what we're all about. Let you see what I'm about. And 9 times out of 10, I'm confident that you're going to purchase from us because you like the way we do business.
Yeah, and I like the way you're saying that, BJ, because, vehicles are commodity. It's just that they're, people need them. Like, they need a car. The problem is, like, the buying process itself, and that it's a weighty purchase. Like you're saying, second biggest purchase in your lifetime other than a mortgage, or, and so it means a lot to people, and it should, because big purchase, big payment, oftentimes every month, you know what I mean? You need something safe for your family. It's just such an integral part of your life that the last thing they want is to, like, dread that experience, you know?
So if we can get the customer in the doors or get them on the phone, I am confident that our team or us can show the customer that it's really not about selling you a car. It's about facilitating it to you in a way that makes sense, that's quick, easy, because that's what everybody wants, right? 90% of the car buyers are going to start online, or they're going to drive by and see something, but they're going to start online. They're going to itemize everything. They're going to have 2, 3, or 4 makes, models, colors they want. And then they're going to come to see me, and how quickly can I get you any other information that you want and get you in this car, and then more importantly, get you out of here, because they don't want to sit around all day, right? So it's the constant, how can we shave off a minute?
Yeah.
How can we shave off 5 minutes? What are we doing in the interim where, the customer says, hey, this is the car for me, I'd like to move forward. How can, what in this time frame now, the between the yes and the leave, how can I get you out of here in a manner that you want, with giving you all the information you need about your new car, about your loan, etc., right? So it's a constant, like, just fine-tuning and fine-tuning and fine-tuning. And that leads me to other portions where when we create this team that we have, I have always been an advocate and never been hesitant to bring someone in to help. You know what I mean? A lot of people try to do it on their own.
Right.
I want help.
That's a losing strat. Like, doing it on your own thing is a losing strategy.
Can't win. You can only do one thing at a time, right? And everybody knows 1 or 2 or 3 things that they're really good at, and they know 1 or 2 or 3 things that they're not so good or really bad at, right? So I put the magnifying glass on the things that I'm really good at, and I balloon those babies up, right? And then these other little things that I'm not so good, I want help with.
Yeah.
Not just tell me how to do it better, but I also want people in there who are very good at those things.
Right.
So you got to identify what you're good at, what you're bad at, and maximize what you're good at, and that's going to help you with the processes. It's going to help you with the speed. It's going to help you with your customer base. And we just roll, man. I mean, we have a good time. If you ever come to our store, we have some awesome veterans, some super awesome veterans, and we also have a super awesome young core. And I don't think a lot of the stores in our area anyway have that mix.
Yeah,
it's
that's
either one way or the other, you know. And it's exciting, you know, and it's exciting to see. It's funny to watch the veterans and the young crew and how they go about doing a deal.
Yeah.
Complete different.
No doubt.
Complete different schools of thought. Neither one of them's right or wrong, right? Because it's just the way things are.
Dude, that's what I love in like coming into the sales game. Those were parallels I was noticing immediately. Like at the time, you know, my brother and I came to school to play soccer. Like that's why we came to Portsmouth was to walk onto the men's team. Met both our wives there, which is like, you know, wild stuff, and then ended up staying in the area. But just the parallels I was noticing between like, all right, when I got the ball on the field, there's so much variation of things that I could do, so many things I can tweak to like optimize my game, right? And I legitimately felt like when I made my first sale, like set my first appointment and it sold for the first time, it felt like scoring a goal. Like I got that same kind of rush. Like, man, I want to do that 10 more times today. Like, and it just, it involves playing the game well, like not dirty, not cheating, like just treating people around you, you know, like respecting the craft of it kind of thing.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And when you do it, you know, especially like what's so special about like everybody remembers their first, in this business, it'd be a sale. Yeah. Everybody remembers their first sale. But what's important also about that sale is you finally realize you can do it. Then you know I know I done this one time.
Because there's so much anticipation. It's like you're training. You know, we're not just letting you loose to like start shooting your, you know.
No, you're in there. You're doing
it's a
tests.
complicated purchase.
Oh, you're learning about 50 cars.
You're taking people's social security number and stuff.
Man,
we're not just like
rowdy.
releasing you.
Right. And then it all comes to this one moment and they say yes. And you're like, I can do this. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then it's on from there. You know, my very first sale was a couple from Ironton. They bought a Camry and a Tacoma. I'll always remember it. And they've bought every car from me since. And they follow me. And that is what
that's cool.
That's what gets you. You know, because when people start, and I'm going to use somebody for an example. I don't think they'll mind if I mention them, but Jody and Danny Picklesheimer. They've bought 6 cars from me from Ashland. They just bought a new one from me in Portsmouth, and they live in West Virginia. Wow. So it's, you know, you're doing something right. Yeah. When those people not only continue to purchase their cars for, but, you know, Jody sold my house. She's a realtor. She sold my house. Like, you know, we're friends. You know what I mean? And these things just all stack on each other. And that's where this business kind of gets wild, because you're meeting these people that are going to be in your life, maybe potentially
16 years at this point
for the rest of
it.
You know, and when we sold the Picklesheimers, you know, that was like 3 years in, and so 13 years later, last week just sold them a Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Wow. So I mean, it's just when those things keep happening, you know, it's not a pat on the back moment, but it's like, man, okay, I'm doing what I need to be doing, and I'm not getting behind, because, you know, again, it's over a decade now. Everything's still competitive. There's all kinds of places to buy a car. And that is what I tell all of our people. It's like, a customer can buy a car here. They can buy it there. Yeah. They can buy it over here. But it's going to be, if they know what car they want to buy, then they're going to buy off the person. So be the person that, you know, people want to do business with.
Right,
you know?
right.
And that's what we kind of teach on and build on. And I feel like it's the right way to do business.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and especially being like in just the local kind of rural economy that we're a part of, it's like we don't have the same quantity of interactions. So like every interaction must be like meticulously quantitative, like of the highest quality, local excellence kind of mindset. I mean, that's the people that exceed here. Like, I'll brag on just Tracy Faulkner for a minute. Like when I call Tracy, she like even though it's an internal call, like it's not a customer, she knows it's not a customer, her voice is bright, like, "Hi, Connor." You know what I mean? Every single time. Like, she's that skill set, that's just a reflex for her.
Yeah.
Like when she answers the phone, she wants you to feel received and invited kind
Absolutely.
of thing.
Yeah.
And that's like that's part of the sport of sales, really.
It is. It's sharing your energy, and there better be plenty of it. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a long day if you're coming in there dragging. I mean, it's just
no doubt. And people will walk out and they'll go to the next dealership, dude. Like,
and like you said previously, and I'm not knocking on big city dealers. I'm just not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what we deal with and how we approach business is two completely different things. If you're in an metro area with 500,000, 600,000 people, some cases 1 million people, you're not gonna be too bummed out if you don't get that sale because person B's coming right behind.
yeah.
When person A walks into our store, we know we get a shot.
Mm.
And if we fail, we don't get that shot with them again.
Sure.
So we have to approach it completely different, and we do. And that's what translates into a good business.
And that's some of my favorite brags, or just my favorite moments in the business, BJ, is when I see like people from out of town, Columbus, Cincinnati, Lexington, come by from us. And
it's pretty cool.
That's a powerful feeling. That
cool.
They would drive that far out of their way to deal in like quantity.
Sure, especially when they have many options at their disposal.
Mm-hmm.
They're still coming. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and just the nuance of it, like from the business perspective, I can't imagine how many sales have been left up to like, I just answered faster. Like I answered in 5 minutes. I was more receptive, communication was better, or I just answered it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or you were kind.
Yeah, right.
Or you cared.
Yeah.
About getting them the information that they wanted, not just a bunch of fluff to get them in the door. So we like to listen to what the issues are, or the wants or desires or needs or whatever it is, and then we will help you find exactly what those are, not just this or that. We want to hone it into that one, and we're successful at
I
doing
like
that.
every once in a while I'll be reading customer reviews just from competitors and whatever, just to get an idea of like, because that's one of the coolest platforms that you can understand. People will perfectly articulate why they didn't buy from you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You
don't hear a lot of the good ones, but you will definitely hear the bad
I read
one.
one time. I'm kidding, it was more, but it was like this guy said he had the perfect car for me, and that was weird because he didn't even ask what I wanted.
Right. I just know that. Whatever it is, it's going to be perfect.
Just like I think the key, you're right, is not to get so caught up in the sales jargon. I don't think that's why we're successful here. It's because we legitimately like put the customer's interest first. Period.
Sure, we have to.
Yeah,
we have to. And not saying that there's not other places that do. Okay, don't get me wrong.
Right.
And we're all human. And we're all going to drop the ball from time to time. And we're all going to make a mistake, or we're going to do something. But, as long as your heart and your mind's in the right place, I can live with a mistake that I make.
Sure.
And knowing that there's not going to be, hopefully, many more of them. So, but yeah.
I guess with your experience in the industry, BJ, where do you want to see it go, man?
Man, it's changed so much. Just... this has been going on. Selling vehicles have been going on forever. And just in my time slot, I still remember when a gentleman brought in a piece of paper that he had printed off the internet, and he had built his own Tacoma truck, and then had found the similar Tacoma truck at another dealership, and brought it to me and said, I need you to get this vehicle for me. And I was like, how did you get this information? Like, because I did, and he was like, I got it on the internet. And I was like, this is a one-off, Now it's like 95% of things going on is internet driven and based. And so that was early on in my sales career when I was like, this guy's using the internet to,
right.
You're like, what's this? Like, how do you even think about this? And now it's like everything. So, and times have gotten, that it went from that to where it is now. 10 years is relatively quickly.
Right.
Time.
Sure.
10 years is 10 years. I mean, it goes by in the blink of an eye. But, I would just like to see the business be more transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see if you're familiar with anything Glockner related, advertising or anything like that, you'll know that we promote a fully transparent proposal. Everything is itemized. We show you what the MSRP is, what the sale price is, what your taxes are, what your fees are, what your trade amount is. It's clearly broken down, and a lot of places don't do it that way. And I think for the customer to just maintain their trust or regain their trust if they've been burnt by something like that, I feel like it just needs to keep going in the direction of full transparency.
Right.
Toyota tried a thing with their Scion brand several years ago, which was called Pure Price, which was, hey, here's the price of the vehicle. Now, a lot of people kind of didn't like that because it took the negotiating out of it, but at the same point in time, you knew exactly what you were paying for the car, and there was nothing coming after that, And if, as a consumer myself with different things in cars too, I want to know where I'm at in the purchase of something. Just like it's disclosed when you buy a home, just like if you go to Lowe's and buy a sweeper. I mean, what your taxes are, if there's any delivery fees, if you buy a washer, what I mean? It's just, I want to know exactly where I'm at so I can make the best decision. And that's what we offer, and that's what I would like to see the business as a whole do, because it means a lot to the customer.
Sure.
And if you can get on more level ground with your customer, everything goes more smooth. It turns out better. You got a happier customer, and they'll come back and do business with you again, and as long as you treat them fairly. So that's what I would really like to see.
Sure.
Moving forward is just transparency.
And I think it just speaks like the fact that we are transparent, that we itemize things, that the taxes and fees, you can find them on the website. Like, we're not actively not hiding that stuff, and that we continue to oftentimes outperform and run alongside with other competitors that aren't as transparent says a lot. You know what I mean? I think that's just like you said, the winning strategy in the long run. For sure.
I agree 100%. Couldn't agree more.
BJ, tell us a little bit, let's get into, I guess, your personal development, because I think sales, just from the little bit of experience that I have, it's it feels like a mental sport more than anything. Like, there can be high highs, high lows, What's your personal development looked like, man? I mean, are there, literature or anything that you recommend others, things that were real eye openers to you that you read, listened to?
Yeah, I mean, coming up in the sales back in my time, there was this trainer, and at the time he worked for Toyota, and he was a very high energy guy. His name was Casey Nix. And you either loved him or you hated him. And I loved him just because his delivery method wasn't just, monotone. He was moving. I mean, he was hitting that stage back and forth. You was watching him every move. He was so smart. He knew everything about everything Toyota. You could ask him any question. So I really kind of grabbed onto him, and he done some personal development classes as well, which were very beneficial for me. But also too, coming up, our general manager at the last store I was at, he was in the business for 35 years.
Wow, yeah.
So, man, just soaking that information up, and I mean, because everybody's where they're at for a reason, you know. And it's typically in this business it's because they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
And they know things that you don't know. So that's where it goes back to, I'm not afraid to ask questions. And our current VP of sales, Trevor Marzoff, you know, when he came to our store not too long ago, and he was over me, I thought I was the bee's knees, you know what I mean? And little did I know, it turned out that my paperwork was sloppy, you know what I mean? I was doing some things, you know, the wrong way, you know, and I'll tell him all the time, he tuned me up, you know, he got me right where I needed to be. And it's things like that. It's identifying where you want to be, who's there, and how can they help me, and how can I help them. But if I have a question, I'll call Trevor 3 times a day. I'm not afraid, and he wants you to. You know what I mean? But you can't be afraid to develop yourself, because you're not the best ever for yourself. You're never the best version of yourself. You can always build and stack and stack and stack. Yeah. And so that's what I did. I just drilled the people who I wanted to be in the positions that I wanted to be in, and got the information that I needed to help get me better, you know, and I did. And that's kind of, if anybody's out there who's in sales or wants to be in sales or wants to progress or whatever, the best thing that I could tell you to do would just be find those people who you maybe have aspirations to be like, you know, in whether it's position or personality or just their life or, you know, whatever, and pick them, you know, pick them apart, you know, and hopefully that they have somebody in their life that'll share that information with them like I did, that you can take those pieces and put them in yourself and grow and become better.
Yeah, and I think you're saying that the right way, BJ, where it's just it is an extreme exercise in humility to like improve, to evolve. Like it just takes a lot of acknowledging where you're messing up. Like, and I think that you'll find that like some of the most like impressive people have a lot of humility to them, because they're constantly critiquing themselves, constantly accepting critique. You know, it's just like the easiest way to not get better is to think you're the best.
Oh, you
know,
gotta get that ego.
For sure.
Pop that balloon.
They got that the Glockners have that sign upstairs in the museum that just says "Be humble" real big in like gold letters.
Right. I mean, is it not true though?
Right.
If you want to get better and you want to progress, one way not to do it is to let your head get so big and your ego get so big that you can't fit in the room that you want to be in, you know. So you got to settle up with that yourself, you know. And I've done that, you know. You're never, as they say, you're never the biggest fish, you know. There's always somebody that does it better, and I just want to get better, and I know you do too. And there's a lot of people out there just wanting to better themselves. So you just got to put yourself out there and lay your sword down, you know, and just accept that you can still learn something.
Of course,
you know?
yeah. Let's hit a little bit of that girl dad talk real quick, my man.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna need a right there on that one. You know what I'm saying? 6-year-old. Hold on.
That's amazing. Man. Yeah, mine's sport. I'm hoping she just stays that way forever.
Right. I know.
You got a 4-year-old one.
I know they don't,
bro. Yeah, I know.
I was telling you earlier, mine just lost her front tooth. You know, and it's like, where is this time going? Every time I see her, she's bigger and knows something new every night. You know what I mean? And it just goes by so quick, and it's hard. Well, it's hard to watch.
I will say, man, I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, just meeting your daughter for the first time is like just reframes everything for you. Completely reorders like what you see is important. I guess like I started really feeling more connected to the place that I lived and that we lived when my daughters were born. And I think that just speaks to like, man, I want this place, like how do I want this place to be for them? You know what I mean? How do I want my community to be? What kind of life am I trying to create for them? What goes through your head in that question, man? Like, what do you want for Rowan? I guess what do you like, how's that change your perspective?
Yeah, so, you know, just something as small as, 6 years ago, I wasn't concerned with the quality of education. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the truth.
You know what I mean? Like, who thinks about that when you don't have a kid? Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're starting to think about things like that. who are their coaches who are going to be around them, and are they, good people? I mean, you think about things that you've never thought about. And then as far as the environment goes with your location, it's you want them to have a safe place to grow up. And I've always liked small town America. That's what I'm used to. And I've never had that urge to live in a big city, like big city. But if I go to a large city, whether it's on a trip or vacation or watch a game or whatever, I'm ready to come back home after a couple of days. You know what I mean? And that's about as much as I can take. I just hope for, our daughters, that they have quality education, a quality of life, that we can provide a space for businesses to come in and invest in our cities. I know I live in Ashland, but I'm Portsmouth all the way too, because I'm here more than I'm there.
Yeah.
But just to have people come in and invest in your town and invest in your city and create jobs and create playgrounds and doing all these things. And you always want the best for your kid, and you'll do anything that you can. And I've learned all this, again, in a short amount of time. But I want to be able to be there for her, which thankfully in the job I have with the hours and stuff, normally I would say a car guy or gal wouldn't have that benefit. We're lucky that we do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's never an issue if I want to go to a T-ball game. It's never an issue to go to a practice or something, and I want to be there for her. And maybe one day when she's old enough, she'll listen to this and she'll hear me speaking about her, and know that I have her best interest at heart, which I do. And but I can only say that, like, working with companies like the Glockners or whomever, I know that they're progressively building in towns that they are involved in, and that's the best you can hope for.
For real, man. I like, for me, it's strengthened the connection that I've seen between, like, our efforts, like what we're doing, all of us here at Glockner, and the impact that we're having on the community. Like, dealers at the end of the day, man, especially in like little rural towns like we live in, is we are so connected to the progress of the city. Any business that's a part of it, like, dealers have come with a lot of misconceptions, and depending on the dealer, some of those things may be true, but like I think a lot of people walk in the door thinking we're away, come in on defense, but like at the end of the day, there's so many community partners and things that reach out to the Glockners because they know, they are they are the kind of conduits to make things better here. They're at least a part of it, know? So for me, it was like just seeing things change in Boney Fiddle, seeing things change in even Ashland, the riverfront to be developed. Like, being a part of some of those changes, it's like, man, we did that, and we did that for a purpose, and that's our kids. Like, that's what that's their staying power.
I mean, I dare you to go find a team in T-ball that doesn't have a Glockner logo on the back. I mean, a basketball, a field, a 4-H event. The list goes on and on. The parades. I mean, they're everywhere because they want to be. They want to help, and people seek out sponsorships all the time, and that's what they should be doing. And the Glockners will help.
Right.
And there's other places that do too. I'm just saying, they want to better everybody's environment. Especially with what we're talking about.
And I think that it just makes it real simple, which is like what I care about is the future for my kids, for them to have something. And so in like as a family, so what that means is like I got to align my interest with people that also have that at heart.
Absolutely.
And that's what's cool about our team is we're so many of us are mothers, fathers, people that are well connected and just invested in the progress of the community. It's not just like something for you to come buy a car from us. It goes both ways.
No, I mean, I know tons of volunteer firefighters, coaches, just everything, just doing it just to help, And that's that small town vibe. You know what I mean? It's not, well, how much are they going to pay me for, me to be the third base coach my kindergartner's t-ball game. $1. You know what I mean? It's like, but no, we're just out there helping.
BJ, this might be in summary, but I got one more question for you. All right.
Yes.
Which is, as someone that's built a life in the car business, I guess what advice would you give to an up and comer interested in getting in car sales? Day one, what are you doing?
Day one, if they're at my store,
Yeah.
they're going to be doing some training with me. We're going to be talking about, we're not going to be talking about the cars. We're just going to be talking about what we need to be when that customer comes in to see us. That's what we're building their foundation. And we are going to be giving. We are going to be transparent. We are going to have high energy. All these things that are going to flow to the customer and make their buying decision a little bit easier. But there is, there's a lot of training involved. You have to know what you're selling. And then you're going to sit with me and you're going to watch me work and you're going to watch our team work and you're going to see every little point of that sale. Because if you're just getting into it, you don't know everything that's going to go into that to buy a car.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving pieces. There's banks, there's inventory, there's credit, there's cash. I mean, it's just, it's so much to take in. But it is a very rewarding career. And it's a career that you don't need a college degree. Sometimes you don't even need a high school degree. You know what I mean? And it can be rewarding. And there's no shame in it. It's a prestigious career, in my opinion. Again, we're helping people get that one of the most important pieces of their life. It's their means of transportation to get to their job, to their kids' events like we were talking about. So it's a very important purchase, and we need to treat it as such. So for the person who's maybe at the beginning stages or coming in, find that person that, if you're at a current dealer, find that person who you want to be most like. Pick them apart. Learn from them. Get nurtured by them. If you're not getting that, come see me. We'll give you the right tools to succeed. And you can have a long lasting career in this. And here's one thing that one veteran told me when he was getting to be about 60 years old. He was moving to Hawaii, and he said the best part about being a salesperson at a car dealership is that no matter what town you go to, you can get a job that day. And that's true. I don't know of any car dealerships that would not hire somebody with experience in the past or somebody that can sell, something. So you can literally, if you need to move to maybe your kid's going to college, maybe they're going out of state, maybe you can't stand to be away from them, maybe you want to retire but you want to have a little something still going, you can go anywhere and you can sell cars.
Yeah.
And that's cool about this gig is you can do that. So it's pretty neat to think about.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Certainly an art, man. It's a craft.
It is. It is. But you got to learn.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time. There's so many times that maybe somebody new comes in and 3 or 4 months in, maybe they're doing pretty good and just think they know everything, and then they want to fly a little bit, and you got to let them. The wings aren't developed yet. You know what I mean? And you got to let them. You got to let them fall, but catch them. But they got to fall a little bit too. But just stay dumb to it if you're new. Continually learn anything you can get your hands on. And there's, we live in an age where you can get the best trainer on YouTube. You can find reviews about any vehicle you want. It'll fully break down the car. You can do that in your free time. You can do that at night when you're home. You can do it in the morning before you come in, on your way in, whatever. But there are so many different outlets that you can go to grow, to learn, and the more you know in this gig, the better off you're going to be.
Sure.
So,
BJ, tell us where we can get a hold of you, man. And, of course, appreciate you sharing your story, bro.
Sure. Well, anybody can find me on Facebook. That's pretty much par for the course now. My email address is bjstewart@glockner.com, and my cell phone number. I don't care to give that out. Text, call, whatever, 606-923-4155. I'm always available. If I don't answer, I will return your call. You can talk to me about anything you want.
Awesome. BJ, thanks so much, man. We appreciate
Pleasure, man.
what you're doing here. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Take care. Thanks
All
for
right.
listening, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Portsmouth, Ohio.